I want to tell you guys a story today. It was an amazing thing that really did happen to me. Well, hi everybody. This is Elizabeth with Live Simple, Live Free. And I was thinking I'd like to take you along with me today on an experience that I had many years ago that I have just never forgotten. I was going to college in northern Colorado, and one of the women who had been a roommate of mine and became a really dear friend had had a lot of experience backpacking up in Alaska, camping in Alaska, and I had actually done a lot of hiking and a lot of stuff in the Rockies. And so the two of us decided that we were going to go to a beautiful place that she had heard about, and we were just going to take a few days and backpack up into the northern Rockies. We thought we were going to Ute Peak, but research just showed me we were at Blue Lake at the base of Toll Peak, which is 12,979 feet. We had few pictures back then, so the photos I'm sharing are stock photos, but they do show where we were. And so we were traveling up to an area where I think it's called Ute Peak. It's over 14,000 feet. And so we got there, and we had I had this old backpack. It was just, nothing was padded. It kind of hung on my shoulders. And I had an old army feather, mummy bag. And it was really interesting, the things that she brought along for us to be able to do, to like spend at least one night way up in the mountains there. So, okay. So fortunately I was a lot younger then. I was probably 19, and we started packing in. We had to go up about, I think it was like 2,700 feet, and it was about 8 miles. And so we just started hiking in. My backpack was so heavy I couldn't believe it, but we just kept going and kept going. And so we finally got above timberline, which was a little over 11,000 feet. And that just means that there's no longer trees growing, and it becomes just like low shrubbery and low, almost tundra. And then after a while, it's just mountainous rock. And so we kept going and going, and we finally came up to a place right beside this really incredible lake. It's called Blue Lake. You can probably still find it on a map in northern Colorado. Now, I want to describe this whole place to you. For one thing, we had gone by a spring that the water came absolutely right out of the rock, and there wasn't much of anything higher than where that was. So it was wonderful to be able to drink out of that and not have to worry about getting giardia or any of the other things that you have to be careful of in mountain springs. So at this point, everything is rock and scree and gravel, and we are on it's like a level, flat rock platform. I don't know any way to describe it. Like a little butte there. I don't know how to describe it, but we were up on this piece of rock, and if you looked on one side going down toward the east, at that part of the Rockies, there in Colorado, there's not very many foothills, and so it just drastically dropped from probably the 12,000 feet or so that we were at, down straight into the eastern semi-arid deserty prairie of Colorado. And so from where we were standing there, we could easily see all the way into Kansas. Then you turn around, and then there's this huge gray peak of a mountain right there. We were right at the foot of it. And then down, when you look down, there was this massive, I don't know why they call it Blue Lake, because it was just as black as it could be. And you don't really realize how big it is until you look all the way across, and there's this cute little waterfall coming down. And then you find out later, because you hike around, that it is a huge waterfall. And so it's a long way across. And when you're down right by the water, you can only see for just a couple of feet, and then it just drops into clear blackness. I feel like it's got to be the summer home for the Loch Ness Monster. If I was a bird, I don't know if I'd fly over that lake. But anyway, it was just quite beautiful. In that part of the mountains there, the the mountains are such a deep, like iron gray. The sky is such a dark blue. And then that water was just this deep black. It was quite a dramatic place to be. Well, we had to get ourselves set up. We grabbed a bite to eat. We were very careful not to cause any damage to anything, but we grabbed a bite to eat, and then we had to set ourselves up to try to go to sleep. And it gets very cold up there. So what my friend did is she laid a big piece of plastic just out on the ground, and we both had every shred of clothes on that we could, and I kept my feather jacket on. I didn't react to feathers as badly back then as I do now, but I had my feather down, coat on, and we crawled into these mummy bags and just got them closed up to like here, inside of there. And before she zipped herself all up, she took the piece of plastic, and we had our feet toward the drop-off down into the prairie, and so she just took the piece of plastic and just brought it back up over the top of us. We really looked like a couple of big dill pickles in a sandwich baggie. And she brought it up, and you'd think, well, that's kind of dangerous. But the lift off of the ridge just kept poofing up the top of that plastic all night long. And so we constantly had fresh air coming in. But it was a protection for rain and for, any kind of just stuff coming down that could have gotten us really wet. And it was on just plain old rock. Boy, was I younger. But anyway, so we hunkered down there, and you had to kind of almost try to find a spot where you could sort of get comfortable. And then I proceeded to just freeze to death all night long. The air was keeping fresh coming in, and it wasn't cold enough to be dangerous, but boy, was I cold. And starting sometime in the wee hours of the extremely early morning, I also really needed to get up to go to the bathroom, but it was just freezing cold. So I can remember just laying there huddled up going, Jesus, please let the sun rise. Please come on. We need to have the sun come up. Please, Lord, because I was so cold. And the rock was so hard to lay on. And it was an adventure. Well, when we started noticing that the light was getting a little bit like lighter, like you could see a pre-dawn, we both decided it was time to get up. And so we both got up and took care of what we needed to. And then we're just standing there on the side of this mountain with this huge peak behind us, and looking out over the darkness of this vast open flatland that was in front of us there. And then the sun started to come up. Well, it was way off there in the east, and it started to the light was peaking up, and so it started getting that wonderful peachy pink golden early dawn color. And when we turned around, it was very, very slowly lighting that gray mountain up behind us into a beautiful, brilliant pink color. And then the air in the prairie down below us was being heated up by the sun as it was coming up. And this is what I will never forget. The air was rising so quickly as it heated up that it was coming right up the face of the front range there, right up the face of the mountains. And we could literally feel this air just like brushing past us in this very gentle breeze. But then if you looked over at the mountain, which I forgot to tell you, it has year-round glaciers on it. So it had these really cool year-round glaciers way up there. Well, when that warm air hit the glaciers on this mountain, it started to form clouds. And as we looked at the mountain, you could see these swirling, white, cotton, puffy, poofy swirls starting to develop on the side of the mountain that we were looking at. And then because they were chilled from the glacier and from becoming clouds, they fell right back down the mountain and went just flowing past us. I mean, these clouds were just coming by, and you could feel it. You could just like you were flying up in the sky. These wonderful, cool, like clouds just flowing past us. And when we'd look out over the prairie, you could see them. They would just start to drop and drop and drop, and they were forming on the mountain and swirling past us and just dropping down. And the sun was coming up more and more. Everything was lit up golden pink everywhere. And within minutes, honestly, of us looking out there, the entire land in front of us was all puffy, beautiful golden pink clouds. Like I was watching the sun above all of the clouds in an airplane. Like I could see, it was like you were above everything. And down below us was this world of just these beautiful clouds, and the sun is peeking up farther and farther. And the more it comes up, the more it lights the clouds up, and the more it brilliantly lights up this iron gray mountain behind us. And when the light actually was just really shining so much that you couldn't really look at it anymore, everything below us was just like lit up like this magic kingdom. The sky became blue up at the top, but it just got so pink and rosy, and the sun and the warmth was starting to really hit us, and that mountain was just lit up so beautifully with all of these rich colors. And eventually, I guess it stabilized between the warm air and the cold air, and it stopped making clouds. And then we just had this beautiful mountain in front of us with this deep, dramatic lake and the waterfall and these glaciers up on the mountain. And both of us just stood there in absolute awe. I don't think we said a word during the entire time this was going on, because I just have never felt such a sense of awe and wonder at God's creation, and just the immensity of this huge mountain and the immensity of all the wide land that was spread out right before us. And then, of course, we eventually had to go ahead. We had to get back down, and so we grabbed something to eat and packed up those horrifically heavy packs, and managed to make our way very carefully back down. Had another drink out of that spring, but making our way very carefully back down the 8 miles. And you have to be very careful going downhill. It's about more dangerous than going up. But we finally made it back to her car, and went back down to college. But I will just never forget, if you can somehow picture. I wish I had a camera in my phone way back then, like I would now. But my goodness, I am 69, so that would have been 52 years ago, something like that. 62, yeah. Anyway, it's like, over 50 years ago. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And God's creation is so magnificent. And being able to just, be up at this tall, high Erie and just watch this whole magic happen, that I guess really probably happened just about every morning when the sun came up. And it was just a truly heavenly experience. So I love you guys. I wanted to share that with you today. And we need to just look around and appreciate the incredible majesty of God's creation, whether it's the smile of a little baby or the miracles that he does in our life, or just how beautiful a tree is as it's fully leafing out, or I get my flowers on my dogwood behind me here. God is good, and I cannot wait to see what he must have for us in eternity, because he loves beauty and he loves us so much. Well, listen, you guys, be blessed, and I love you, and we will see you later, and thank you for joining with me today. Bye-bye. Now, Bill and I have some other stories that we've told through the years, and we do have a playlist. It's right up here. I hit my microphone. He's going to have to have a blooper reel. Okay. Well, Bill and I have told other stories through the years, and we do have a playlist. You can see it right up here, and it'll be in the description below. If there's any others that you might want to listen to, or just that we're happy to share with you. Thanks, guys.